Okay, let's get started here. Can you guys hear me? Sorry about the little delay there. I had to do a little restart right before I came in. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. It is week 3, live session 1. Yeah, I'm having a little problems with, I think I need to do some backups on my computer. I kind of reached a limit of some memory issues here. So trying to juggle some things around. So I'm going to see, because I wanted to show you guys something in Photoshop today, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. So we'll kind of play it by ear here. Might have to quit out of Illustrator and kind of log in. I like to have all my programs open, but for some reason it's not allowing me to. I think I need to do a little clean sweep of my computer here. How is everybody doing today? Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, no, you're sick. Did I give it to you? Sorry you're sick. Yeah, mine only lasted for like 2 days, which, no rain. My head cold, I'm doing so much better. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I started using that Zicam nose spray stuff, and that really, for me, it worked. It cut my cold down significantly. I only had it for maybe 2 days, you know, the worst, and that was it. Yeah. Yep. I like the nose spray because it's kind of like, it helps you be able to breathe too, not only, you know, doing the zinc part of it, but yeah, it's kind of, it's pricey though. I think it's like $12 or $13 for the little bottle, but definitely is worth it. No, it doesn't. Nope. Yeah, that's the only bad thing with I usually do the spray in the mouth with the Zicam. And I noticed that it's like, you know, it's really gross tasting. And then anytime you eat anything after that, even 15 minutes after, it tastes weird. Like it almost does something to your taste buds where it takes the sensing out of your sweet taste buds so you don't taste any sweet stuff. I don't know, that's kind of how it was for me. Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm sorry you're sick. You know, Zicam helps for me. I know I do that, and I run like a humidifier, like a vaporizer kind of a thing. So, you know, throughout the night, because it's so dry now. I think that helps kind of keep everything going, flowing without many details here. So how was everybody's weekend? How did you guys think the week 2 work went? I know I have I have a few more of you guys I still need to grade in section 3. So just kind of bear with me here. I have 3 sections of this class. So there's a lot of projects I had to grade. And I'm trying to get them done as soon as possible so you guys can get going on those revisions. So for those of you who haven't received feedback, you should be getting that at least by this evening, if not tomorrow. Yeah. Your family went nuts on SBS. What's SBS? Okay, you had a question on the feedback. Super Bowl Sunday. Oh, okay. I'm a little slow. Yeah, I was grading for the most part for you guys on Super Bowl yesterday. But yeah, Super Bowl, crazy, huh? I'm a Steeler fan, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it there. I'm not much of a football person anyway. I'm more of a hockey person, so you know, unless we're in the of course, if we're in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna cheer for my team for sure. All right, what was your question on the feedback? I know I have a lot of emails to get back to as well because I was so concentrated on getting your feedback back to you guys. I didn't quite answer a lot of your emails yesterday, so I'll be getting to that today as well. So kind of just give me a little bit more patience too. If I had 2 sections, it wouldn't be so bad, but I have 3 sections of this class, so it takes a little longer. So kind of be patient with me, and I really appreciate you guys doing that too. Okay, so let's see here. I'm Columbus originally, so OSU college football away. There you go. College football is good too. I've attended some Penn State games myself. You mentioned merging the pepper graphic with the name on the box. I was a little confused by that. Oh, okay. So I meant like the flavor, you know, like the jalapeno, whatever the subhead is, making that pepper smaller and kind of integrating it with that type. So it looks like it's kind of like a little icon maybe in itself, because the pepper was real big and kind of like stuck out, didn't really belong anywhere. So if you use proximity, you can kind of pull those elements together. Just, you know, play around with it. Make the pepper smaller. You can draw some little lines in there and then have the name in the middle and play with the pepper maybe in the background, pulling the opacity back or maybe on the side, you know, kind of playing around with it, making it look more of like an icon, like a title, seal, display or something. You know, we're kind of integrating the type with the image somehow together. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because right now I see the name and then your pepper so far is so big and it's not really kind of, they're kind of two separate things now. But if you pull those together, it might look really kind of a nice little like icon that will present really well for the actual flavor of that particular hot sauce. And if you want to see that a little, you know, if you want to pull that up later after we're done here, we can definitely take a look at that. Does anybody have any other questions that I maybe have not answered yet? I know some of you guys really probably were a little surprised of how much work this was, as far as getting the template done and then also working on your rough. So this is the start, you guys. You want to get it as much as you can, you know, finalized, but it doesn't mean that it's always going to be like the way that it looks now. You're going to be polishing it up. Yeah, I mean, just play around with it. You know, I'll have to look at it too, just to kind of refresh my mind of what I was telling you. So if you want to pull that up at the end here, we can take a look at that and I can give you some more suggestions if you'd like. All right, welcome, welcome. Lisa just joined us here. All right, so let's get started here. I did see there was a lot of you that didn't submit your work yet, so make sure you're getting that in as soon as possible so that you can go to the next stage of this. Oh, no problem. Been there, done that. So this week you will continue to work the basic principles and elements of design. Yeah, there you go. To organize and prioritize your content. I pulled some of your examples out from this week too. Excuse me. So we'll take a look at that. And then I'm going to discuss kind of things that I saw in some of the pieces that I saw that kind of needed to be addressed. Just some technical things that I found myself repeating on the comments and feedback. So if I kind of address it now as well as in your feedback and visually show you what I'm talking about in the lecture, maybe that'll also help a lot of you guys. Oh no. Sorry to hear that, Lisa. I hope you're okay. We also will be looking at this week in a glance. We'll take a look at your discussion. We'll take a look at your assignment 3, which is analyzing client feedback, avoiding design disasters, and we'll talk about visual hierarchy. Yeah, hopefully, huh? Jeez. That just sounds very painful to me. Any kind of shot is not good, right? But if it's to help you, sometimes it's worth it for sure. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at week 3 here. What will be kind of, and I posted 2 announcements, a little synopsis of this too. So basically, we will continue to work with all the resources in your design toolbox, color, thinking about color, contrast, typography, spacing, and other basic principles and elements of design to organize and prioritize your content. We're going to be creating a visual hierarchy that leads the end user in a logical order to all sides of a package. create and develop an original concept that targets the end user, and then, of course, analyze client feedback and adjust to meet the content strategy goals. Excuse me. Don't forget in course media for week 3, again, you guys are going to have another lovely quiz coming up here. I'm going to scroll down to week 3. For assessment 3, you guys will be having a quiz based on your readings and videos here. Your required articles for this week are how to respond effectively to design criticism. You know, I think this is something that we think, oh, yeah, you know, it's just common sense. But I think sometimes, you know, the way that you say things, and especially to your fellow peers too, really, really makes a big difference. So typically what a good strategy is the sandwich method, where you're kind of giving the compliment first, you know, pointing out the strengths of what you see. Yep. Yes, exactly. Because there's no emotions, or you can't have a tone unless you use emoticon, but even then, or emojis. But there's no tone that comes through when you're typing. So when you're in like a critique session face to face, it's a lot different than, you know, on the board as well, like on the boards online. So you really want to make sure you're kind of approaching this in the proper way, so that you're not kind of turning anybody off, you're not making anybody upset, and you're doing it in a way that's effective and meaningful, so that the other person is gaining as much as they can from it. So you kind of want to uplift that person. It's kind of like how you are socially in an everyday situation. You know, giving somebody a compliment, telling them their strengths, will make them more interested in what you have to say for the criticism part. So the sandwich method is, you know, the first thing that you want to say is pointing out the high, you know, the good things, what's working. And then maybe kind of point out some things that maybe need more revisions, you know, point some things out that say, you know, and then say it in a way that's more objective than subjective. And objective means you're using facts versus, you know, opinions, okay? So an objective statement would be, the typeface that you chose may not be appropriate for the brand because it's more of a, you know, an elegant, sophisticated brand, and your typeface looks a little bit more conservative. That's objective. Now, subjective, if it's an opinion, it would be more like, I don't like this typeface, it's not working. Right? So that's more of an opinion. You don't really have a fact behind that. So make sure it's objective. And then the last, so you're starting with what the strengths are. In the middle, you're kind of talking about what, you know, what can be worked on, what you believe can be stronger. And then end it with, you know, kind of a good note in terms of wrapping up what you believe the overall project looks like, how much, you know, do you think that this is going to be a strong project based on what you see, you know, kind of end it on a more positive note. And that kind of, it makes it a little bit more digestible for that person. So it's not so much like you're hitting them right on, you know, with like the bad news first. So it kind of makes it a little easier for that person to say, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. And, you know, makes it more effective in that regards. So, yeah, exactly. So this kind of talks about that. You might want to read through that. How to apply the elements of design to your work, element and line. This is also really good information too. And I noticed a lot of you were kind of using this to your advantage, which is great. Some of you may have not thought about how you could use it. So just seeing other people's examples might help that too. And talking about shape, how you can add that to your work as well, and then texture. And I think I pointed out a lot of things to some of you guys that maybe it looked good. Say like, I say, oh, okay, this package looks great. You know, your colors look great. Your typeface is appropriate. The color is appropriate. Everything's working, but it's lacking some type of, you know, it's kind of flat looking. And it's okay to have it simple, but why not, you know, try to make it look more dimensional, more dynamic with maybe a light texture in the background. And that's kind of what I mean by that, kind of a subtle, something just kind of elevated a little bit. Yeah. So just a simple texture in the background that you might kind of have transparent, showing through your color might be all that you need to kind of bump it up to that next level, so it doesn't look so flat. And there's things that we don't think about too, while we're doing these projects, because we're always looking at it on the screen. But if you, like, say for instance, if you had that cologne package or perfume package that you're working on, you could do a simple 1 or 2 color job and put a simple foil on it, a printed foil, which would elevate it right away, with just the logo being in like a metallic foil or an embossing. Hello, welcome. So, there's other ways that you can elevate this, not just with the actual digital, elements, but also, printed ink and also paper. That's maybe all that you need. Oh, look at you guys. So think about all that stuff. And then also lynda.com playlist goes over the graphic design foundations, typography, legibility, and readability. There were some of you that had some issues with that. Hierarchy and functionality, systemized hierarchy. A hierarchy is also great. I noticed a lot of feedback given you guys about hierarchy. There's a lot of information that was given to you that needed to be placed in your work, in your actual box. So it was really kind of the challenges to how you fit all that on there, and then not only fit it on there, make it work so that the hierarchical order is just right. So that's kind of what to review for this week, for week 3, for your assessment 3 coming up, and also just kind of gives you a nice little resource for your work that you're working on. All right, your discussion, let's go over. This is pretty common sense here, but I'll read through this. Let me know if you have any questions. And basically what we're going to be talking about is avoiding design disasters. That's always good, right? So things to think about whenever you are, starting a project. And this also talks about, other things that may be implemented into your package, like, for example, shiny texture and stuff like that. So go ahead and read through the background. I'm going to go right to the prompt. So in order for packaging design to communicate its message in a clear and concise manner, many factors must be considered, including using the elements of design. Also, you should aim to include at least one, if not more, of these elements when creating your package design. For this discussion, explain how you can apply these 5 basic design principles, so shape, line, color, value, and texture, to emphasize focus and flow to all sides on a package design. So for example, horizontal lines can divide space and are useful are useful for leading the eye to a specific location. Value can be used to evoke feelings or moods. Dark values tend to indicate drama or mystery, while light values can symbolize fun and happiness. How are the other elements of design used to help packaging design to communicate its message in a clear and concise manner? So, this is where you can bring in a lot of really interesting, maybe examples for your citation to back up what you're talking about in regards to how each of these design elements, basic design elements, shape, line, color, value, texture, show an example. Explain why, how this is, allowing the package to be effective because, visually it's using shape or line, color, value, texture to pull the eye through or, kind of evoke a certain feeling or mood. Okay. I think that'll be good to kind of look up examples of that. You can also look up just the, kind of the description of what each of these design elements are. This might help kind of back up also kind of what you're explaining. Yep. A lot of the basics, are basic, but that's kind of why we're going back to the basics and the fundamentals. If you can't get the fundamentals and the basics down, you're going to have issues going forward. So it's almost like a house where you have to have that strong foundation of the basics first so that you're always implementing implementing the design elements appropriately in the way that you should. A lot of people don't understand how many rules there are in design. Now, there's obviously, if you know the rules, then if you know you can break them, if there's a reason to break them, then obviously you can if it's appropriate to. But if you don't know the rules, obviously you might be breaking them and not making a wise choice in that regards. But there are rules in what we do. There are rules and principles that we have to abide by in order to create something effective. There are a lot of rules, and we're people that like to break rules, right? So I think it's kind of surprising when people go into this field thinking, okay, I'm creative, I can do whatever I want. But then, oh, wait a second, there's rules here. So yeah, there's rules, obviously. Yep. I always like to say that there's two different, okay, so this is another thing. Everybody always thinks art is kind of like design or is design. I have a lot of students that are like, I'm an artist. And I like to it's debatable for sure, but I always like to say, well, I like to look at design and art being on the same coin, but they're not exactly the same thing. As designers, we're designing for other people, right? We're designing for the client, whereas an artist is more like designing for themselves. Now, you can use art in your design, obviously, but they kind of go hand in hand, but they're two different things. Yep. Any questions about this as far as the discussion? I think it's pretty straightforward, right? You can look up some examples, like I said, showing each of these. I think that's kind of cool because then you can get some inspiration too. And when you embed those examples, other people can see them and say, oh, this is how I can use line or shape or color or texture in my, okay. Yeah, you draw well, yeah. Some people draw well. I have a lot of people that say, oh, I could never be a designer. I can't draw really well. And I'm like, I can't either. That has nothing to do with it. I mean, obviously, if you're gifted to have that ability to, that's awesome. Because it definitely, it's an awesome gift to have. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to know how to draw. All righty, going forward here. So the discussion, we're good with that, right? Welcome, Carla. Saw you gotten in here. All right. All right, let's see, what am I wanted to show you guys some examples. I just pulled some random projects from week 2, and I just wanted to talk about this and then maybe go over some common things that I'd noticed too. So let's go ahead and take a look. So great job for those of you who have turned in your work. I did see a lot of very strong projects, some that are really need kind of pushed further, but it's all part of the process, right? And that's kind of what's different between us and other majors too. So this is the process. Yeah. I saw a lot of great perfume and cologne boxes. I think those are probably the strongest I've seen so far. So for those of you who aren't doing the cologne and perfume, you can still learn by looking at these examples and how they use line, texture, color, hierarchy, and all of that. Yep. So this is an example of one of the students in this class. Yeah, that is the Cool Breeze client here. And I thought that this was a really nice project that shows how line and simple graphics that align and unify very well with the actual brand can really strengthen and elevate just simple lines here. Abstractions that unify with the logo and the brand itself that can, really just communicate the message very clearly. Mm-hmm. It embodies the name very well, yes. And you can see a hierarchical order here. So you can see that, the graphic there, the lines kind of pointing up to the logo, that's the focal point. And it's very contrast, it has a nice contrast to it. It works for this particular brand. You can see the ingredients, the amounts below, they're smaller though. The sides are nicely unified with those lines continuing on. The ingredients are on the sides smaller and small type. And then it's emphasized just the subhead in the blue, kind of a nice setting to kind of pop it off a little bit more, kind of differentiates it from the actual ingredients themselves and where it's manufactured at on the side there. And then it's all very nicely spaced and aligned. So make sure you're kind of paying attention to those details. Yeah, it looks great. You want the lines to go up and over the top flap to connect the two. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, good suggestion. So, you know, those lines can go right up to the top on the flat part. And something I wanted to, I would move them up just a little bit more centered. Yep. So some suggestions there. Kind of using the 1/3 roll in the cover there. One thing I did want to point out, I noticed that some of you guys that did this, it does look really good, huh? That did this particular template. Some of you guys put the cover or the front here on this panel. So make sure that you know which panel is the front. I noticed a lot of you guys, even on the other ones too, putting it on the wrong panel. You know, think about it. Open up a box like I don't know. Just look at in your closet. Open up a box and kind of notice how it's opening. It also says on the template, you know, where the front is too. So just kind of make sure you're paying attention to that. Okay, so that's one design example here I wanted to show you. Here's another one. Just a little different. And again, this is where, and this is a good one to show you because this particular student put the cover here, I say cover, but the front of the box here where it should be on this panel. So this particular person just needs to swap these two. Yep, looks really good. Yeah, the logo shouldn't be changed. Yep, it should stay the same throughout here. All right, yeah, some of these are a little different, so you get the idea. This one I thought was kind of cool because they're using that interesting leafy like fern pattern in the background, yet, you know, kind of setting this apart in its own block of color here. You know, definitely there's little things in each of these that need to be upgraded and changed and revised, but these are, you know, good ones to kind of be inspired by that I'm showing here. An interesting piece there. Okay, this one I wanted to show, but I wanted to also, this one I really liked, but I also wanted to show this as an example for everybody to see too. This is what happens when I open your file up and I don't have the font that you have and you don't outline your fonts. So this one was really a nice example to show, but I don't have these fonts and these are not outlined. So make sure you're outlining those fonts. All you need to do is do a select all, and I showed this in the last lecture. You just go up to select all. You're going to save it as a different file name too, because you want both files to go back to, and just go to create outlines. And right here, create outlines, and that creates your font. Like, you know, when I open it, I won't have to link any fonts to that. Yes. So this is what it looks like to me, and what's happening is it's showing this pink. Oh, okay. It's showing this pink highlight saying, "Hey, we don't have this font. It's being replaced by another font." So, but anyway, this one was a good example to show you. I like the overall look of this. It was just the font was not linking up. So just kind of FYI there. This one I liked. I thought was a good one to show you because this one, what do you think the element in here that is one of the elements that we're talking about in the basic elements? What elements do you see here that are really playing a part on here? Shape, line, these shapes, lines here, yeah, and hierarchy, yeah. The basic, you know, we were talking about the basic elements. This is kind of what I was talking about. So I liked how this particular student used basic line and shape. No, you're good. Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. The hierarchy is great on this too. Very simple. Yeah, the type on the side, very classic. You know, it's nice, you know, this part here, the little intro on the side is a little larger than the back stuff, which should be point size wise. I saw a lot of you guys have, you know, the intro copy way too large point size, and then also this information, which should be even secondary to this information, being the same size, which it shouldn't be. So you need to have some size difference between the intro to this copy as well. Just so that there's hierarchy, proper hierarchy. Nothing is, you know, you can tell that there's more emphasis on this than there is this, and that's what we want, because the eye needs to know where to go first, second, third, fourth. If you put emphasis on every element, the eye's going to get confused. Somebody's not going to know where to go. It's going to be kind of chaotic to look at, and you might lose interest. That's kind of the point of hierarchy. Now, a couple things to point out. If you're working on the wine bottle, and I showed this in the demo, make sure your front is on the left panel here. I had some of you guys putting it somewhere else, maybe on the right panel. Make sure if you put the logo up here that you're flipping it 180. Think of it as like you're opening the package and this part's in front of you. So you want to see that logo kind of looking at you. So it's kind of upside down to where the cover is, or the front is. What else? So these are the sides, and then this is the back. Some of your codes, your UPC codes, are really, really large. I would say, you know, 1.5 wide is large enough. Oh, and another thing I wanted to point out, your intro copy, it just has to be probably, and I'm guessing this is probably around 10 or 11 point type. So it doesn't have to be huge. If it's more than that, you might want to take a look at that. And then this copy is typically even smaller. I would say like 8 or 9 point type, and this is probably even smaller than that. I would say don't go below 6 or 7, just because it is kind of hard to read, but it's okay for this to be smaller. You know, it's kind of what graphic designers don't like to put that stuff on there, because that's the stuff that we think is kind of like takes up good space. But it has to be on there. So that's why this is done so nicely, because it allows the negative space, that, you know, kind of the nice panel to show, rather than it being all covered in copy that's not real, like, you know, real important information. Yes, good. All right, so that is that example. Oh, and here's mine. This is what I was working on when I last showed you guys the example here. So, you know, hierarchy is key. I'm going to see what this looks like if I dial the opacity down here. Just curious. It gets a little more subtle. I kind of like the texture, maybe a little bit more subtle. So just kind of play around with the suggestions that I gave you. If I gave you guys some feedback here, and play around with all of that. If you need to revise your panels based on how you have everything in there. What did I have this set up? I can't remember. We'll do 55. Go ahead and do that. That might kind of change a couple things. I know some of you guys that need to do that. See how that kind of just nicely sets my focal point now at the copy instead of the actual words there. So that was kind of fighting for attention there. So that's why I dialed that back down a little bit. So it's more of a pattern and a texture rather than, you know, the focal point. So play around with your elements. How can you use line, shape, texture, color, value to help communicate your brand essence? Hierarchy, think about that. And then just think about how you're going to assemble this and how you're going to use it as a consumer, you know, as far as where all the elements need to be or how it would look. I think that's one of the disconnects that we have, because we're not putting this together physically. If this were a on-ground class, they probably would say, we need to print this out and mock it up. And mocking out means you have to cut it out, fold it, almost like a real package. Because you'll see some really interesting things when you do that you may not have seen it before. Like, the actual size ratio, maybe the logo looks too big because on screen you had it zoomed out. You know, maybe the sides look odd with, you know, these two words being on other in other positions on one side and the other side, you know, but you don't know that until you put it together. So that, I think that's the disadvantage if you can't print it out. And sometimes you can, you know, at home and put it together, maybe not to size, but, you know, smaller in that regards. It might be something you might want to do. All right, give me 1 second here. I'm going to blow my nose. Let me know if you have any questions. You can type in there. I'm going to mute for 1 second here. Okay, there you go. Aw, Carla misses everybody. All right, does anybody have any questions with anything that I showed you, or anything about what we kind of covered so far? Okay. Everybody seems pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is let's take a 5-minute break since I kind of was there blowing my nose. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I've been talking for at least 40 minutes now. Take a quick 5-minute break. We'll get back to the slides here, talking about a little bit about, let's see, we're going to go into the details here about analyzing client feedback. And then what we'll do is we'll check over your, read over your assignment 3, and I'll start the demo for that. And in the meantime, I'm going to try and get Photoshop loaded up here. Okay. Okay, no problem, Carla. All right, so meet me back here in 5 minutes, and then we'll go forward. Sounds good? Sound good? All right, we'll be right back. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, I think some of you guys were posting in the chat here. If anybody wants to show their work or needs extra help, we will have some time today to do that. So go ahead and get your files ready. So when we get to that point, we can just share your screen if that's good. Sounds good? All right. Yeah, we'll have some time. So if I didn't answer your thing in the chat, we can definitely take a look at that. Okay. All right, let's go forward and we will hopefully have time for that. So let's talk about analyzing client feedback. We talked about this a little bit, but in regards to that, you know, taking in the feedback that I'm giving you, think about it as the client feedback is, you know, they're giving you what they think that needs to be revised. If you have any questions and what I'm asking you, and I have a lot of people kind of responding to me and my feedback, which is great, you know, go ahead, reach out to me. Don't feel like you're bothering me. If you are confused about anything that I'm talking about, you know, feel free to reach out to me. Clients want you to do that too. So when you're analyzing client feedback, you want to make sure you're implementing all the suggested changes, you know, experimenting with certain things that you believe may improve upon the actual concept and design. When we're talking about the die line process, you know, just a little summing up here, just make sure that you have, and I know a lot of you guys had issues with this, and you know, in the demo you saw me kind of working with this too. Just make sure that you're using the dimensions, not necessarily tracing the die line, but using the dimensions of each section, each flap, that their actual dimensions are accurate. So don't go just by tracing the actual template that was visually showing you there. Create the artboard and place the template in there, kind of how I showed in the demo. And then using tools and panels to create the die line. The rectangle tool is one tool that we used. There is the rounded rectangle tool. I don't believe I showed you guys that. We can take a look at that. Line segment tool, we showed you how to use that just as a single line and a dashed line. The pen tool, and then the shape builder tool are also other tools that you can use. Guides is something that helps you align your elements, you know, all the lines that you're placing in there. The reference point, the X and Y values, let Illustrator do the math for you. The transform panel is also a great way to precisely move and copy your shapes. You can put in your exact dimensions in there as well. Stroke panel, that can also help you create dashed lines and you know, kind of change the width of your lines. And then the appearance panel, this is for creating the bleed, is also good for that. The appearance panel, if you do any type of effects to your actual artwork too, that's always a panel to revert back to if you need to kind of make those changes in there. Avoiding design disasters. So creating beautiful design is about more than inspiration or a great idea. It's about understanding the fundamentals of the subject. Elements of design are the basic things you can see in any design. So you have the shape element, line, color, value, texture we talked about. The elements of design can be thought of as the design elements. Principles of design refers to the arrangements and grouping of these elements to produce visual hierarchy in your composition. So you have shape, and I showed you some examples in the examples that I showed you from this class, how shapes can convey the intent of your message. So for example, that wine box, that particular student was using those circles to convey a specific pattern and message about that brand. You could also use line. You can use line to express meaning, evoke or emotional response, create division, and to organize content. That other example of the cologne box with 3 lines that were gradiated, that kind of allowed the flow of your eye to move up towards certain elements and around the actual package itself. So that was a great example to show you how line can effectively be used in your package design. Color, this is a big one. Color can be used with any of the other elements of design, and with clever use can create mood, meaning, and uniformity. A lot of the examples I showed you were successfully using color to, kind of convey a specific mood, meaning, and uniformity throughout the whole package itself. So if you don't have, I noticed some of you guys using a lot of color in yours, and sometimes that works, but usually you want to stick with 2 or 3 colors. You don't want to go beyond that, because then it starts, it's just too many colors and it becomes a disconnected piece because of that. So you want to make sure it's unified. Number 4 is value, and this simply refers to how light or dark design elements appears. Think about how value can be used to enhance contrast, depth, and mood. A lot of the pieces that I showed you did have great value to them, have a lot of contrast that kind of created this, set this mood. So you kind of, got it right away what it was selling, even without seeing what it was about. You used a lot of color. Sometimes it calls for it, but you want to kind of keep it simple too. Then there's texture. The power of texture is the ability to associate it with how a design looks or feels. You saw in some of those examples how they use texture, the ferns, or like just a simple, subtle texture in the background, like a wavy texture, to kind of help, kind of flow and the keep it a little bit more visually interesting and not so flat looking too. Texture kind of helps elevate your design. All right. So those are just a few things to think about. We kind of discussed that anyway, going forward here. Let's go ahead and go into your assignment 3. Once you're done making your revisions, we're going to be doing something else here. So this is kind of exciting. So we kind of focused on the box last week. We're going to be finalizing your composition and then also creating a label for your actual product. So whether you're doing the wine bottle, the hot sauce bottle, or the cologne perfume bottle, you want to make sure that you're keeping it unified with your box. You want to make sure it looks like it belongs together. All right, so this is the label that's actually going to go right onto your product. So for this assignment, go ahead and read the background. I didn't mean to skip over that. I'm not going to read it word for word, but go ahead and read through there. It just talks about visual hierarchy and all that good stuff. So for this assignment, you will finalize a detailed composition of your package design concept to give the client a very close representation of how the final product will look when printed. A final design must be well crafted to secure final approval from the client. At this stage, the designer must take painstaking efforts to make sure everything is exactly what the client has agreed to in the final rough layout. This is where all feedback, compositional elements, visual hierarchy, typography, colors, and imagery need to come together to obtain a final client approval before going to press. Sometimes most of the time clients do kind of nitpick a lot, so you might be going back and forth for a while until you get it just right. Part 1, detailed final composition of package design. So 1, all suggested changes from week 2 must be made or come to an agreement of not changing something to obtain final client instructor approval. So what that means, you might kind of defend what you did, which is okay. As a designer, we don't always have to agree with a client, but we have to have a reasoning of why we think what you have is working more effectively than what the client's changes were suggested to you. Using facts behind that is always good. If you're sitting in with a client and they're giving you suggested changes and it's not good for what the project is, explain it to them why, why you think your solution is more effective. So you might do that in this regards. Number 2, review your instructor's feedback from week 2 assignment submission. Number 3, discuss with your instructor if you have any questions on the feedback and come to a resolution for the final design. Number 4, implement all changes. And number 5, if you have not completed week 2's assignment yet, this part of the grade will be 0 points. So kind of keep that in mind. So there's 2 parts of this too. Any questions about that? If you don't have any questions, obviously you don't need to discuss anything with me, but that's just part of it. Some of you guys are already kind of questioning me about things, so that's good. And then some of the questions can be answered today if you're in here. So there we go. You have a few. Good. We'll answer that hopefully soon here. All right, so that's part one. So basically you're kind of refining what you already submitted, making those changes. Number two, you're going to create a custom label design. So now it is time to create a custom label using Adobe Illustrator for your product that the target audience will love. Keep in mind, color, typography, graphical elements all contribute to strengthening the brand's identity. The label design is an extension of the package design. So number one, staying with the same product you chose in week one's assignment, create a label that will go with your overall design strategy and concept for your product. Number two, size. Label size is determined by bottle size. So you're going to visit this onlinelabels.com for custom label sizes. Number three, require, number one, product package color scheme. So you got to have the color scheme show up in your label, like pretty much unified. Number two, product package typography. So you should have a unified typeface on your label. Number three, product package graphical elements. Number four, correct label requirements based on contents of the packaging. So you have number one is the food guide label guide. So if you're using if you're doing the hot sauce, you'd be using that one. Alcohol labeling guide, excuse me, is number two. And then perfume cologne labeling guide. So if I'm clicking on this alcohol one because I'm doing the wine label, I'll show you what this PDF looks like. It's kind of just telling you, regulations in terms of what should be included within there. Now, I'm not quite sure. Let me see here. Address. So it's just kind of telling you in the Code of Federal Regulations what needs to be on the line here on the left side. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm going to share my PDF here. Can you see that? All right. Thank you. All right, so it talks about how this protects the public and, kind of compliance with what's on there. What you should know about labels. There's an inside too here, so kind of tells you, how this is all broken down. So you have the vintage date, the estate bottle, application of origin, all this good stuff here. So it's all pretty much. See, now this is going to be kind of interesting because if you're doing the wine label, you're going to probably only show the front of the bottle, but there is a possibility that it could have a back label too, or a wraparound label. I would focus just on the front label for this particular project, as well as the other ones too. If you want to, for your portfolio, want to do a back label and kind of do something different where maybe all this information is on the back label, that's fine too. But just for this submission, okay, thank you, Ray. Let me know if you have any questions. I know you had an issue with something, so let me know what's going on there. Okay, she just left here. I didn't think she was going. All right, so what I mean by that is all this stuff on the bottom here, all the alcohol, government warning, all content, this could be on the back side of a label, and that kind of frees you up to more creative labeling on the front. So if you want to, after the class is over, kind of redesign this so you can show maybe front and back. It's up to you. If you want to do the extra work and do two labels where you're showing the front, being more creative and less detailed with these, and then have the other label in the back. The only problem with that is during week 4, you're going to have to show the prototype of it. So you're going to want to show the front and the back part of the bottle. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. As long as you have the front, I'm good with that, with all of this information that's required. Let me go back to the other ones too so we can kind of check out the food one. Let's see, let's open this one. And this looks like here's your food labeling, download food labeling guide. Okay, so this is just, let me show you this here real quick. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'll try to answer your question here. Okay, so this kind of just shows you information panel. So let's see. This would be on, oh, this actually goes in way big details for this one here. So what I would do is just kind of focus on having for the bottle of your hot sauce, just kind of having obviously the food labeling guide. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think of what you guys should focus on. You could do 2 sides if you want, where the nutrition facts are on the back. Because I'm thinking if you do the label, you don't really want to put your nutritional facts on the front of the label. I wouldn't do that. I would keep that to the back side of it. So if you're just doing the front label, don't put the nutrition facts on the front label. Just focus on the name of it, obviously the logo, maybe the, you know, how much is in the actual container, the net weight, and obviously the flavor, whatever that you're doing. Nutritional information should probably be on the back side. So if that makes any sense. The perfume, somebody had a question about, let me see here. Lisa, I think, or Jennifer, sorry. Perfume often just has the back label and then a tag that goes around the neck that has more info. Is that possible? Or do we want to stick with an actual label? We're always a trouble child. As long as you can show that, the only thing with the, say if you added a tag to the top that might be attached with like some type of string or plastic, whatever, you're gonna have to show that as a flat file as well. You know what I mean by that? So see how this is a flat, simple label file? That's kind of how you would show that too, as well as a prototype of what it would look like on the actual bottle. I'm fine with that. I'm, you know, whatever. Yeah, like you'll have to show, for now, for this submission, you're going to show the flat file, so just the flat label. So if you're doing 2 labels, you're going to show 2 flat files, and then in week 4, you're going to be applying that to the actual bottle itself. So it looks like a mock-up. Yes, so front and back. This one would be, this is a wraparound. So this is flat, but it would be wrapped around the bottle. You would see this kind of on the sides. And that's another thing that you can do too. You just have to make your label a little wider to make it wrap around. So if you're doing the hot sauce label, you could put all the, you know, the logo, what the hot sauce is, the actual product, the net weight, and then on the side do the nutrition ingredients, and then on the side doing the nutritional details, and it would be a wraparound. What I would probably suggest, and I think this is probably a smart thing to do, is go ahead and do a search. And I started doing a search for free PSD templates for wine labels here. Just Googled it. And I found this, I thought this would be a good one to do because it's very simple. I found this one, and I'm just clicking right on this to download it. I downloaded the templates, and they're free. And what you do is you have a PSD template that you're going to place your artwork on, so you can kind of place your final work. This is the reason why I'm telling you to do this first, they tell you to go into this labeling. Let me see, let me go back here. This onlinelabels.com. And you can go through this just to look at it. You know, you can type in here wine, if you're doing the wine bottle. Wine labels would be a keyword, or bottle labels. And you can see the different sizes here. So I definitely would check that out based on what you're doing. But I think the smarter thing, if you're going to show the mock-up anyway, is to look for a PSD template, because you're going to be doing this in week 4 first, because then you can get the ratio of what the label is going to be, so that you're not going back and changing the ratio of it. Because the label is going to be different than what the box is, right? The label is going to be on the product. So there could be a perfume. I mean, obviously you're using the shape of the box, so where your perfume is going to be in there, but you don't know what the shape of the perfume bottle is going to be, or the shape of the wine bottle, or what the label wants to be. So what you can do is find a PSD mock-up that would be perfect for your label, download it, open it up in Photoshop, and get these dimensions of your label. Now, I obviously am having problems opening my Photoshop up right now, so I can't show you, but I'm going to open this up just to show you real quick. I'm going to use, what I would do is just open this up in Photoshop and get these dimensions by clicking on the working layer. You know, it will give me these dimensions separately. I can't show you now because my Photoshop won't open. But I'm going to just use this ratio to figure out how big I'm going to have my, you know, the ratio of this label for now. But I could go into Photoshop and actually see what those dimensions are. I think that would be the smartest way about it. And then what you can do, and I'm going to open up Illustrator while I'm talking to you guys, is go into Illustrator and then start your label size in there. Once you kind of get a good ratio size, or the actual size that you know you're going to use for your mock-up for the label and the bottle. So here I'll show you. I'm doing it a little backwards because I can't open Photoshop up right now. I'm going to open up Illustrator. I'm just going to do a new file altogether. I don't know what my dimensions are going to be, so I'm just going to do 8.5 by 11. You will know your dimensions if you can open up Photoshop. I can't do that right now for some reason. My computer's being a brat today. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of an extra step here that you guys won't have to do if you're able to open up Photoshop. I'm just placing this in here in Illustrator, and I'm just going to get a size ratio. Okay, so I'm just going to take this square rectangle tool here and just get this to be, okay, this is what the ratio is going to be. Whether it gets bigger or smaller, whatever. This is the ratio, okay? Let me make this red. I can make this bigger or smaller. Just hold down the Shift key. It's always good if it's bigger anyway. And this is the size that I want to design in. Yep. Unfortunately, I would know what this size would be, and I could actually make my document this size, but I can't open up Photoshop right now. And I'm like kicking myself because I want to show you guys that. But you know, you have to do what you can do. So right now, this is what before I can fix everything, I'm not sure what's going on here. So right now, it's showing us, you know, I made it a little bit bigger, but the ratio is about 4.25 by 7, almost 7.5, okay? So 4.25 by 7.5 is what I would make my document. Okay. Okay. So this would be my label size. I'm going to go File, Save As. Week 3, Assignment 3. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. So this would be the size that I'm working with. Yours might be different. If you're going to do a wraparound, it might be a little wider. It might be obviously double this size width-wise. So if that was the case, you would have a guide showing, you know, where the front is, and then these would be the sides. I'm just dealing with the actual front here. Now I can obviously, let's see, play around with my bleeds and all that good stuff. There we go. But this is the size ratio based on if I use that particular bottle label. And then what's nice about this, once you're done, the ratio doesn't have to be changed. You already have your bottle set out for week 4 that you're going to use, and it's all ready to go. So it's up to you whether you want to do the wraparound with the nutritional facts. I'm going to just use the front of mine. I'm going to open up my original document that we were just looking at too. So let me go grab that here. So I would say open up your week 2 assignment 2 project, the one without the outlines. You know, it's not outlined. And I would just copy basically what's on this panel here. I'm going to go ahead and do, oops. I'm going to do a drag, copy, and paste. Now I'm going to make this a lot smaller. So I'm going to just double click on my size, on my scale tool, double click, and then downsize it. And I'm just going to kind of try to fit this in here, and then I'll adjust it because obviously I have a panel here. Now this you can make slightly different, but it should look pretty cohesive with your box, obviously. It's a little bit bigger. Let me get rid of this flap here. And then what I would do is just kind of size this appropriately to your bleed. I'm missing the bottom there. Let's grab that. Oops, get out of here. All right. Okay. So then I would make sure everything's centered. So obviously this stuff isn't quite centered here. Let me make sure this is all centered. Okay, based on that box. What I would probably add down here is obviously the net, you know, how much is in there. So I would go back to my, and if you don't have this saved, it's in your, it should be in your week 1 folder. If you downloaded the original folder from week 1, you got in week 1 here. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, so give me 1 second. I'm just opening up that Word file. There we go. And then based on, you know, that website, kind of what needs to be on there. That website is probably something that I would do is probably do a wraparound if I needed to add all that information on here. Let me close out of some of my stuff here. Hold on 1 second. Food and drug. Cosmetics, wine labels. Okay, let me go back to that website. There we go. So if I was knowing that I was going to put this information maybe on the back side, but I didn't want to show it in this project, I would probably at least show the, obviously that you want the name type of the wine, the logo, the vintage year, which is already on there. And I guess the other thing would be just the percentage of alcohol and the net contents. So in this regards, it would be, I'm going to copy this out of here. All the other information that needs to be on there. Oh yeah, can you hear him? I'm sorry, guys. My microphone's very sensitive. He's crying. He says, Mama, Mama, come get me. So this information here. All this information needs to be also on the label. You can have this on there too. It would just be, you know, obviously you'd have to make room for it. So maybe in this case, I would pull this up. Make it a little bit, make room for it here. It's just not, obviously, designers like to have it more simple and not have that information there, but let's go ahead and paste that in here. You love it? Well, it gets annoying after a while, but he is a good dog. He doesn't like to be away from his mama. All right, the only thing I need to do is just rearrange this part, because obviously this is, I'm gonna just copy and make a separate box for this so I can contain it a little bit better. So I make it like here. This is, let's see, how big is this? Okay, I'm gonna go down to like, let's go down to 6. That's pretty small. You like the logo on the top? Those are things that you can play around with. Like obviously it still looks like it's cohesive with the box, just a little shifting of everything. This is where I would keep this maybe on one line and just put spaces and bullet points in between. And then make this a little bit smaller here. Go down to 12 by 14 maybe. And then you can kind of adjust the size. I would maybe even go smaller, because look how much smaller this is, or maybe make this a little bit bigger actually. This is really small. So, I just have to adjust the hierarchy here so it's not, you know, this stuff is not overshadowing it. I'm gonna make this smaller. There we go. All right. And this stuff can be really small here. Just have it spaced accordingly. And then obviously we want everything to be centered. So I'm going to shift select everything and center it. There we go. And I can even put like a little thin line here or something to kind of allocate that this is separate. If I think that's needed. It might not be, but let's see here. Go. So this is if you wanted all the information to be, you know, showing on here instead of having the back show this information, this is what you would do. What's required here, I'm going to do a half size. And again, I'm going to make this, maybe this gray instead of it being super white. We don't want it to be like the main focal point. Let's get a little bit darker. Here we go. And again, center everything. See how it kind of shifted a little bit there? Yep. Not too bad, right? So everything's on there. I might actually, let me just bump this down. See how picky I am here? I just need to fix that rag down there, but everything looks pretty good. So this would be what my label would look like if it was just, you know, I wasn't dealing with a label wraparound or anything, a second label. This is to the ratio of the, like I said, like the, let me pull this back up here. And hopefully the next time that we meet, I'll show you how to actually place it on there. And week 4, we'll be doing that too. But this is the wine bottle label that I'm kind of basing that ratio off of. Oops. So, any questions? Probably just move this down a little bit to get away from there. If you're doing the hot sauce with the nutritional facts, let me see if I can find any examples here. Let's just go in image search. See how these are, okay, here's the front and back. They're more of like a wraparound, so you can have the label wrap around there. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You're like, no, I can't see. All right. This is what I was talking about, the label. It's kind of small. You can't see a lot of the details, but you can see that it's a wraparound label. And that's typically, here's a good example here. You could design yours in these 3 panels that would wrap around your entire bottle. Some are just, you know, one-sided too. Like for instance, this one is just a one-sided one, so you'd have to do a second one for the back with the information. But what you can do is do wine sauce label, free PSD template. See if it comes off. Is there anything in here that, now there's different shapes too, different bottles. So let's say if you wanted to do maybe more of this one, let's see what the mock-ups look like here. You might want to open up the mock-ups too in Photoshop just to see if it works. Tomato sauce. Custom sauce, that's kind of cute. Bottle, different size bottles or ketchup. Okay, here's the one for the sauce. So if this is something that you're looking for, this has like a neck part though to it. That might be something that you might not want to do. You can keep it blank though too if you want. I'm just looking at other hot sauces. Here's a, I would say steer clear of the ones that look more illustrated. Ones that look more real for week 4 is probably what you need to be looking at here. But go ahead and do a Google image search. See if you can find something that works. And then you can find the ratio that you're working in, want to work in. There's beer. Let's see here if I can find, here's a template here for this one. And like I said, in week 4, I'll show you kind of how to implement that. There also are some in your Photoshop application as well. We can take a look at that in week 4 once we get there. Mock-ups. Okay, so this is from Pinterest. This is a mock-up Pinterest board that we can get some ideas from too. Not sure where that bottle went. There's a label, wine bottle label. Some are different based on what you decide to do. Shape wise, you can change the color typically too for some of these. This is the one that I was looking at. And they should have like a reference to this right here. Here it is, PSD mockup. So it actually looks like hot sauce. And then you just click on there. I'm not sure if this is free here. Sample design is not included in the download file. Okay, you have to purchase it. Some are you have to purchase, some are free. That's why it's kind of important to just do that search. But see what you can find. You might just look up regular bottle too. It doesn't necessarily have to look like it has hot sauce in it. Like just label, free label template, free perfume label, free PSD. Perfume label, that would be the next one. Now these, obviously have different bottles too based on the shape, and so that's something that you'll want to like take a look at first because some of these shapes are different. You can even just do a real generic bottle label. Just check out, here's the wine one that I found. Some of these are wine related, some of those are just product related, some of them food, some of them perfume. Let's see, this one's free. Give you guys some free download, must give credit. Some of them, you know, obviously you have to give credit, some of them you don't. So really dig around and see what you find, what you like for yours. Here's like cologne. If you can't find any, I can probably try to help guide you. Here's one with a box and perfume bottle. If it's the same shape, it might be worth it. I'm trying to find, here's another one. Here's like a lotion one. They might have like a spray one. You can do something like this where it's very generic, but it has a spray on it for perfume. So there's, you know, numerous different templates that you can check out. But I think the smartest thing is to maybe pick out what you're going to use for week 4, because in week 4, let's go to week 4, you guys are going to be using both labels, both designs to create your mock-ups. So if you go to week 4, this is where the mock-ups are, okay? So it's telling you here you can go through the Photoshop action, which is another option too, to make a 3D mock-up. Okay, so we're gonna dig into this more in week 4, but I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up to think about different sizes if you wanted to do another bottle with a PSD template. And that's basically all that you need to do. If I were to revise this, you know, I'm going to give you feedback after this week, revise it, and then in week 4, that's when we'll be placing this on the template. So right now, you just need to do a flat file, save it. Let me go. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. Let me go back to the specs that you need to save this as. So you're going to create a multi-page PDF document that has both the package design and label design. Okay. Name your file the multiple page file. You're going to name it as such, and then submit your PDFs for grading. Do you guys know how to do combine those two together? Some of you guys don't. Okay. If you don't know how, let me just show you real quick. You know, some people are a little confused by this. Just go ahead and save as your label. We'll do that first. Just a PDF is fine. And we'll just do smallest file size so it's not a huge file. And then you're like, let's say this is finished here. We're going to save this as PDF. And this is your assignment 2. Once you're done, obviously revising it. Yeah, Carla, me too. I hope you feel better. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share my desktop so you guys can see both of my files here. Let me hide this. Let me hide this. Let me hide this. All kinds of stuff to hide. Okay, so this is my 2 PDFs that I want to combine. So this is my label. Get rid of this one. This is, and open up your label. Make sure it looks good as a PDF separately. And then I would also open up your template. Make sure that looks good for your box. So you have these 2 here, and there's 2 different tabs. So instead of submitting both of them separately, what you're going to do is I would go to your label, just go to Tools, Combine Files, and it's going to open up this panel here where you're just going to drag and drop these 2 files in there. So drag and drop, or just click on Add Files. When you're done, choose Combine, and then save this as the file name specified. So DES244 week 3 assignment 3 first and last name. It's going to save it as a PDF. I'm going to replace that. Okay. Get rid of these two now. Oh, I have to resave this here. Hold on. It's not letting me save it as that name because I already have that name. DES244 assignment 3. I'm just going to put 2 at the end of this because I already have it named as that, and that's why it's giving me problems. So this is the file that you'll submit. It has both files in it. You can see one of 2 pages being shown here, so that when I open up and download your PDF, I can see both of these together. And then you'll just submit that one PDF. Oh, is it? That same background. That's funny. All right, so that's kind of where I'm going to end the lecture, so you guys can share anything that you want to show. If you have any other questions, we'll just kind of open it up for you guys for open critique session here. Just let me know if you want to go first. I can give you the rights to share your screen. You can turn off or turn on your mic so we can hear you and go from there. No, it's okay, Lisa. That's funny. All right, who wants to go first? No pressure, right? Okay, thanks, Carla. Hope you feel better. Anybody else besides Lisa need a second help eye and some feedback here? Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, Lisa, you want to share your screen and I'll unmute you here.
Hello. Y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, I thought I did it. Let's see. Oh, share. Hello. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you what I did, and then I was so mad.
Uh-oh.
So let's see. You see that line? That my die line?
Yeah.
And then my work. So I started putting color on my die line instead of the layer 3.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out the easiest way without losing my mind.
Okay, so I can show you.
Okay.
Okay, hide layer 3. Just hide the little eyeball.
Oh, hide it.
Yeah. You can unlock it too, that's fine.
Okay.
And then have the eyeball next to the die line. Open that so you can see it. There you go. And then just shift select all those color blocks that you made, the flaps. Okay. Hold down shift and select all of what you want on that layer 3. Nope, you just need to click right on it.
Oh, just kidding. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay.
I mean, I do, but.
Okay, hold down the shift key when you're doing that so you can select more than one. Good.
Whoa. Where did I go? There we are. Where did I go? Oh.
You gotta find yourself.
Holy cow.
You can go up to view on your menu bar and go down to fit all in window.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Keep the shift key down and just select the ones that you want on that layer 3. There you Okay, now go back to your layer panel and see that how it says die line, and then there's that red box.
Yes.
Move that red box to the right, no, to the right of that die line, to the right. There's a little square. Yeah, pull that square up onto layer 3 and drop it on there. There you go.
Oh.
Okay, now put your, so now you have, this should just be your die line being shown here. So if you have anything missing, that's kind of what, now you'll see that. If you go and put the eyeball next to the layer 3, you'll notice it's now on that layer.
Okay, so where, I thought I did all of my die line, all of my die line on this, but obviously I didn't. Oh my Lord, have mercy.
So you're just gonna have to go back to your layer 3, hide your die line, go back to layer 3 and show that. And see, you have some of the lines maybe that need to be back on your die line.
Probably. Okay. And can I do the same thing that I just did, move the box or whatever?
Yeah, but you'll have to find that, the line instead of the actual shape.
Okay. Okay, so now let's just go here. I should lock this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do me a favor, go to your, see those bottom ones, zoom in on the bottom 3 flaps. Okay, just delete them. I'm gonna see if there's another shape under there. Delete that one. We could do an undo. No, there's no tracing. So undo. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna just do the same thing that you did, and you're gonna pull those back, and you're gonna make a copy. So hold down the shift key.
Here?
Yep.
Okay.
And select the other 2 flaps. There you go.
Oh my God.
It's okay.
Okay.
And then what you're gonna do is Command C.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna click on your die line layer and unlock it. Hide your layer 3. View your die line layer. Do a Command V. You're going to move those into place where they need to be.
Okay, is it okay that those are not?
We're going to change that.
Okay.
Move that into place to the right a little bit. And then we're just going to flip, see where the fill and the stroke is. We're going to switch that. So it's a line. Just switch that. Yeah, there you go. And then you can make that black if you want. But there's your line.
Oh. But I know I did it because I even had like the little lines here. You see the dotted lines right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to need to, kind of do a little bit of a revision there. But
yeah.
And now to get that back.
Okay. So then
So I would lock that layer. So if you're going to go back to layer 3, lock that layer. So
oh my God. Oh, dude. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So then go back to this layer.
Yeah. You can hide the die line if you don't need to see it. Just see what.
Okay. And I'm going to see, and I had made this one this same color, but I don't know what happened. So we'll go here. And why does that look crooked? Oh, okay. That's okay. Then go down to.
Is this what were you telling me about this looking pixelated?
No, that was Jenny.
Oh, okay.
Does mine?
What? We're at 42%. Could you zoom in on 100%?
Yeah. How do I?
The bottom percentage is 40. There you go. Is this a high-res image?
I thought it said vector. Where are we at? I do see it looks pixelated a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a vector image, it's a raster image. You can tell the pixels.
Okay.
Just make sure it's high res.
Okay.
And make sure it looks, where did you find this image?
I don't know, a Google search.
Okay.
Somewhere. But I mean, you were talking, I completely forgot that, earlier you were talking about, because what I want to do is I want to do my like the logo, kind of
Mm-hmm.
a foil, but not, I don't know, but maybe I could just,
Do me a favor.
yeah,
Select the image that's the texture. Is there any color behind it, or is that just the
no.
image? Okay, so behind that texture,
Mm-hmm.
make those panels that same color as the flaps that you have. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So all you need to undo that. Undo, undo.
Oh,
Just make a
this,
square for now. I just want to show you real quick something, and you can fix it once you're done.
okay,
Make
make a
it,
square.
take the square tool, yeah, rectangle, and just do it the size of that, the 4 panels.
What was that, 4 by?
Just take it up there and just, yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's fine. I just want to show you something real quick. And you can kind of make it more precise when you're doing this. Okay, go to the right. Just pull that all the way to the right. Nope,
No, to the
undo.
left.
Nope, keep it where it was at.
Oh,
And take your move tool and pull the middle box on the right. Middle box to the right.
middle, this box?
The middle box, yeah, right there. That
Here?
bounding box, right there. Yep.
Pull it all the way to the right?
Nope. You have to click right on it. We're going to make it wide. Nope, not that one.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay.
You're going to go to the right and wait, go all the way to the right. Yeah. Okay. You're going to send this to the back. So go up to arrange. Yeah. Send to back. And then you're going to select the image. So click right on top of that image. Click all your image because you did a whole, you could just do one actually. You don't have to do 4 separate ones. You know that, right?
Mm.
That might look a little better. Like it might look more,
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I mean?
Yes, instead of,
Having 4 separate ones.
yeah. Okay.
But just for sake of showing you this, go up to the opacity. So you would do one box, place that image in there, and dial the opacity down. Dial it down to like 50% just to see. Go down a little bit more so you have a little, I would say maybe 25. There you go. See how
Okay.
that's kind of giving you less contrast so the type will look better, but you have
Yeah.
that texture.
Right. Okay. Okay, I could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's see. Just so I can get this back on track, I'm gonna have to mess with why I don't know, because I have no idea, I don't know. But so I'm gonna take,
Yeah, if you're going to use that background on all of your flaps, just make it the size of your entire composition and just, you know, make it one element, one rectangle.
okay, even over the flaps and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing is you'll have to do like kind of like a cutout of that eventually so you can see where the cuts are.
Yeah, so okay, this. That box still there? No. So why does it do that? What do I do?
It's kind of doing like a layer and a layer. Just go
No.
up to the very top and hit that back arrow. See where it says linked file? Your panel, glyph panel is over top of it. See that glyph A, letter A
Oh yeah.
panel? Pull that, yeah, get rid of that. And hit that arrow, that back arrow. It's
Yeah,
kind of giving you, hit it again. It's giving you an option to do layers and layers.
I wonder if that's what I did.
It could be, but
Okay.
all you have to do is see over in your layer palette panel, sorry. There's like a little arrow. You just
Yeah.
drop it down and it kind of goes into all your separate elements that are on that layer.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably have to go through those. Okay, so then this one, let's just say I made a box. Okay, I was having problems with the shape builder tool.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like a square, let's say here. What in the world? Okay, whatever. And I selected the box.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go to my shape builder.
You have to select both boxes together. I'm not sure if it'll do it with the type texture either. Just select that with the box.
And then
Click and drag in there and out into the other box. No, up. Do it again. There you go.
is that take? It's not taking it out, huh?
Click inside that box and then drag it up into that layer. There you go. I think it's because what you need to do is do that initially before having the image in there of the texture. So you're
Okay.
going to create the shape first, and then you're going to place that texture into that shape.
So if I just do,
So take your rectangle.
yeah, and do a
I think
4x4.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Make sure that's kind of going over that on the bottom, like overlapping it a little bit. There you go. Okay.
And then select them both.
Mm-hmm. This move tool.
Ah, that might be exactly what I was doing wrong. So here, up.
Mm-hmm. Go into the, undo that. Go from the big to the small. You might have to make it so it's an outline too. Okay. Undo that. Make it so it's an outline instead of a fill. To swap those two colors in your fill and your stroke. There you go. Hit that again. Hit that little arrow. So hit it. You have to have it selected. Select your two shapes. There. All right.
And then swap them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there, okay.
Okay, now try it.
Do I hit option?
Now undo that. Try go the other way. It's like not doing, there you go. Okay, there you go. Now what you're gonna do is take your white arrow. Oh, it's not cutting it out. Why is it not cutting it out? I'm gonna steal the screen here real quick.
Okay.
Oops. Did I just share your screen again? Hold on. So, before, I'm just going to do exactly what you did.
Okay.
Let me make sure this is aligned here. I keep touching my other tools. Sorry. Align. Oops. That's what I want.
So Jenny says, I thought you could just click on each item separately and it would cut them. Then you can delete each, I think.
Oops. You have to actually you know what's going on here. It's because we have it overlapped. Hold on. Hold on.
She said she thinks it's because the settings are to add and not subtract.
Yes.
But when I watched something last night about it, it said something like to take them out, you have to option.
Yes.
Click and drag.
Oops. Yeah, something got screwed up here. Where's my... Hold on 1 second. Everybody's chatting in here. There. So yeah, I just clicked right on there instead of dragging. That's what it was. So this, you have to select both of these together, take your shape builder tool, and then just click right on that square. And then take your direct selection tool and just delete that out.
Okay.
Now what you're gonna have to do for your when you place your texture in here, we're gonna have to do a clipping mask. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay, so you have your shape, so you have to make your general shape. And let me just place in this wine bottle because this is the only image I have here. Let's just say this is your texture.
Okay.
Make it bigger. So you're gonna send us, you can send it to back to see the texture or whatever. You're gonna select your image or the texture and then shift select your actual piece that you wanna clip it into.
Okay.
And then you're gonna go up to object, which I know you can't see right here. I'm gonna go to clipping mask and make.
Oh. Okay.
And if you wanna undo it, just go up to object, clipping mask, release.
Awesome. Okay.
But the key is to have your image that you want to clip in the background, hold shift select. Yep. So you're selecting that shape that you want to clip it into, object, clipping mask, make.
So can I do that with all of my,
Mm-hmm.
like if I cover my entire artboard with my text,
Yep.
I
So
can do.
you would have to select all of your pieces together. Now I would probably do something where you would like somehow group all this together. And I'm not sure if that's going to work with the whole clipping mask. It's going to have to be one shape. So what you might have to do, this one's locked. What you might have to do is once you have your artwork in there, do a copy paste. This is going to be kind of weird. And you're going to have to combine all of these together. So you can do that with the shape tool, where you're kind of combining each of these. So it's like one shape together.
Yeah.
See how I'm kind of combining these? Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to combine all these shapes together. I'm just dragging and clicking on. So this is one solid shape.
Okay.
So then you're going to place your texture in there. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I have any texture. Let me see if I can find some. Here. Okay, let me just place this one in here. This is just a picture.
Okay.
I'm going to make it real big. Almost bigger than my cutout. This is why it's important to have a very high-res image.
Okay.
You know, like not a high-res, but like one that's, you know, going to work for this. Shift select, I guess it would be high-res, but you have to make sure your file isn't going to get too big either. Let me swap this so you can see that I just swapped it so it has no fill, just a stroke. Shift select this so it has both the back image and your cutout, object, clipping mask, and make.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just a couple more steps, and then what you'll do, I would just move this back over here, send it to back. Obviously, you're going to implement this into your layers so you can see all the stuff in the front.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm going to stop sharing. You can share your screen again. Good, good. I'm glad this is helpful for you guys. Yeah, the shape builder tool's a little kind of tricky. So you'll have to click. We were kind of clicking and dragging, Lisa, and we were supposed to just click right on the top of that little square. So shift select both shapes, and then take the shape builder tool and just click right on the top part one time.
This part?
No, the top of the little one. Yeah, right there. Just click right on top. Yep. And then take your direct selection tool, which is your white arrow. Click off of there. Click off. I don't know if it actually did it. It doesn't look like it did. Hit delete on your keyboard. Hit delete. There you go.
Ah, awesome. Okay. Do you think that I need to change my image?
It's up to you. I think you can see the repeated pattern there. So if you don't want to see the repeated pattern all 4 panels.
No. What I mean is, that like you said, you told me to go ahead and just replace it and make it all the way across so you don't see the 4 panels, and then lower the opacity so it looks okay like that. Because earlier, okay, perfect.
Yep.
Good deal. Okay, now I guess I just have to figure out where everything's at.
Yeah, you'll just have to kind of go back and kind of re-look at everything, all your layers, and make sure everything's on right. And
okay, awesome. I think I'm okay now. Jenny, I might be texting you later.
Well, good. Let me know if you run into any issues.
Okay.
I know it's a little.
I get really overwhelmed, and I do overthink everything. Ask Jenny; they all know me. and I think I did. I just got overwhelmed, and I started to get mad, and so I was forget it.
When it's hard to figure out how the tools work too, that doesn't help too. So
yeah. Awesome. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Lisa. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, who's next? Naomi, did you have anything you wanted to share? Any questions? Okay, so I guess we just have Jennifer here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Jennifer, I'm going to unmute you. Go for it.
Okay. How do I share my screen? I'm sorry.
That's okay. There should be a share button, a green share button. Just kind of place your cursor over maybe the top part of your screen, see if it pops up.
Does that work?
Yep.
See what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Right.
This is one of the ones I wanted to share, but your fonts weren't outlined.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, I'm cooking, and also my kid is,
That's okay. I have my puppy crying in the background.
Okay, so
yeah, you did a great job, by the way.
Thank you. I tried real hard, and actually, the background at first was just a real brassy gold, and I switched to that rose gold because I think it works better.
Yes, I love that texture in the background.
Thank you. I tried. So, okay, we scoot in though. This is the issue. You see how pixelated it is?
Okay.
So I took this image, I found it, and I meant to send you a message too. I want to do my own painting, but it's going to take a minute to do it, and I didn't have the paints ready. And I had to work this weekend to be able to buy the paint. So so I took this image and I manipulated it in Photoshop, and that took me forever because I'm the weakest in Photoshop. But so I want to know what your opinion is on how to do this, how to manipulate it better. So should I do the painting, or is there a better designer way to do it that doesn't require me to paint it myself? Like, is there a site? Because I looked up sites. I looked up, I tried to find a vector graphic of that, acrylic pour painting, like what this is. But that's what I wanted, was that movement.
Right. Now, do you care if it looks like a photo?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
So do me a favor. Zoom in on that front panel. I just want you to try something real quick. So this is a raster image.
Yeah.
Click on the first panel where that image is. Make sure that's the only thing that you're selecting.
Hang on. What do I do? Good Lord.
It might be locked.
It might be. Where am I at? Layers. There we go. What's happening? Okay. Okay. Sorry. My kids.
If you go on the upper right or upper left-hand corner, just hit that back arrow. I think you're in like a layer in a layer. There you go. Hit it one more time. There you go.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
So you have it selected. When you select that, it's on that panel. Okay, is that the image there? Okay. Go up to object and see if it's grouped. I don't know if it's grouped right now. Ungroup.
Okay.
Okay, so select it again. Okay, select just that panel. I just want to show you what this is going to look like. Okay, now go up to your, here, hold on one second. I'm going to stop sharing because I can't remember exactly what it's called. Here, hold on. So you're going to hit select that background, and you're going to go up to your image trace. You know where that's at?
No.
It's up in object image trace.
Object. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, share your screen.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Mess you up. Object image trace for that.
Object. Wait, where'd I go? Hang on. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There you go. Oh, we can't make it because there's something going on here. Let's do an ungroup.
Okay.
Is there stuff grouped onto that? No. Okay. Can we just place that image in by itself on the side on the art board?
Maybe. I gotta find it, but yeah.
Let's do that first because I think that might just go file place
Okay.
and then try to find that file.
My goodness. See, there were so many images that I downloaded for this.
It's
Sorry.
okay. We'll wait. You're fine.
Where are you at? So I went in and tried to find one that was like specifically, there it is. And then
Is that the one?
this is the image, but then it's the Photoshop one. See, I manipulated it. See,
Okay, so let's
that's the PDF.
place that in there
Okay.
just to see here. Place it on the side. There we go. Let's go back up to object and let's try to do the image trace on this real quick. Oh, wait. There we go. Go ahead. You had the stuff going on the top. Okay, now go up, see where it says tracing result? And then the preset is default. Go over to the preset default on the left side of that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And choose high fidelity photo. It's going to take a little while here. Now, what do you think about that? Because it's taking it from a raster to a vector. It's going to look a little different, but it's not going to look pixelated.
I like that. I think that's not bad. I mean,
you can even try different presets. Maybe try a low fidelity, see what that looks like.
yeah, because it might just be a little smoother too with a low fidelity. Let's see.
That might be too smooth. I don't know what, that almost looks like a marble effect now. Yeah. If you want the photograph look, I would try to get that. If you can open that up in Photoshop and just see what the resolution is, try to get that as high resolution as you can. You might not be able to.
But I think it's because and I also saved it as a PDF, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so you want to make sure you export as a high res TIFF or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's one way that you can make it from a raster to a vector so that it will never be pixelated. The only thing is it's going to smooth it out and may not look like a photograph.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but it's all in what the look, and the feel that you want. If you want it to look like a photograph.
That's the whole thing. I think the idea of it being for executives and it being, I mean, this is cute, but I feel like the photo quality of it makes it more sophisticated, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
so I would go back to the original Photoshop file and make sure you have the high res if you want that to look really sharp. If it's not looking, if it's a small image, you may need to choose something that's more high res, that you want that photography type of a look.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
But I love that whole look of it. If you could find the high res
and try to fix
of that image, that would be amazing to get that as sharp as possible.
Absolutely. It was so hard to manipulate the colors though, because I'm not, like, Photoshop is not my forte. So the colors, I struggled so hard with it, and finally I'm like, it's good enough. I like that. The colors good.
No, I think it looks really good. You really paid attention to a lot of the details in here, which is great. It's just if you get that photograph sharp in there, that will really kind of elevate it, like you said.
Okay. And then now that you can see, oh, you need a diaper? Okay, hang on a second. Sorry. Now that you can see the type, does it look okay with that part since you didn't get a chance to see that before?
I think I made a comment about the type on the bottom part of your front panel, the 100% pure fragrance and essential orders meaning yes. That can all be downsized as well as like the fluid ounce net weight. I think that can be made a little bit smaller, especially because look at your logo and the tagline underneath there. It's even smaller than that. So I think once you make that bottom copy smaller, it'll start. Right now it kind of looks like it might be a less expensive perfume or cologne because of that. Right. When you make the type that's not as important smaller, it'll make it look more sophisticated.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
So if you want to, did you want to open that image up in Photoshop and see, kind of take a look at it, or are you going to do that on your own?
It's either way. I mean,
it's up to you, whatever you want to do. If you're not real, you know, do you have Photoshop open right now?
No. You know what?
Okay.
My kid is yelling, change my butt. I know. Okay, you gotta go potty? Okay.
Aww.
Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to go.
No, it's okay. If you want to send me that file, you can too, and I can take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I'll do that.
Okay. We can do that, and then that way I can say, hey, this is how you resize it, or I can resize it for you and just show you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's awesome that you guys like share your work. Everybody else learns from it, so that's great.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go take him to the bathroom.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. All right, you guys, I'm gonna kind of end it now. It looks like we're at the end of our time here. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. I will, like I said, get to the rest of the projects that need to be graded. Anybody who submitted late work, I'll be getting to those in the next day or so. So be patient with me. Emails as well. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to meeting you guys on Wednesday. Bring in any type of things that you need to work on, look at, questions about on Wednesday, and we'll definitely open it up for critique from that point too. We'll have a lot of time. All right, have a great day, you guys.